What is going on in this village? What is up? Ah, man, it's been a good month. How are you guys doing? I hope all is cool, all is well. I've been excited to talk to you guys. Let's see, what can I tell you? What can I tell you? Writing's going well. The the muses have definitely been kicking in, and hold on, I'm trying to pull up Facebook here so I can like answer any questions that you guys have. Um, Yeah, so sort of just going back through and reading all the different, oh man. So yeah, reading all the different like different storylines and different things that like I uh wrote in the first 8 books for the land. Like honestly, the hard part is just figuring out what I can include and like what I need to sort of like not back burner, but like like because there's just so much. And so like making sure that you do that in like a nice, smooth way is really cool. Um, is a really, really cool vibe. Hmm. One of the things that I do is I reread books that like I fell in love with back in the past that kind of like put me in like the right groove, the right framework. Um, because I mean, as you guys know, like I'm a fan, like you guys are too, of just sci-fi fantasy, Raymond D. Feist, Brandon Sanderson. Um, so like getting into like, and I always sort of loved more like 70s, 80s style, like sort of grittier fantasy. Um, and especially with book nine being called Mayhem, that's a huge thing. So yeah, that's it's just sort of been fun. I've also been working on Alpha, which is obviously something that's near and dear to my heart because it came out recently. Yeah, so. Anyway, basically I've just been like working, riding bikes, learning about random things, zenning out, that kind of thing. So I kind of would love this to be more interactive this time. See if you guys have any questions, then I want to answer them. So please let me know. And yeah, no, I mean I'm still hoping for 2 releases this year. Um, finishing them when they do, I will give you updates. I believe I told you I was in like, I think I've done like maybe like 5 or 6 chapters for book nine so far. Which is one of those things where it's like I will finish it and then I have an idea and then I redo it and then I shift this part down and so it's kind of this like amazing interactive Tetris and Jenga that hopefully doesn't fall over. But yeah, like it's feeling good. So, but anyway, yeah, let me ask any question. Let me give some shout outs. So Clayton Wallace was first one here. It's good to see you. Scott Penny, Rishi Castro, Jeffrey Western. What's up? Hey. Noah Schmidt, Sharon Schultz. Good to see you. Um, and oh, thanks for the shout out, Richie. So Brittany Baclofen, hey, going on? Justin Singwine? I don't know. Yeah, so it's definitely not going to be a 90 hour. But first of all, like Nick, it just doesn't want to do that, I'm sure. So okay, this is a good question. Jeffrey Weston saying, do you feel like you found the same energy and voice of book eight while writing book nine? Okay, of the first 8 books. So, um, two very different questions in my opinion. The voice, like, will it feel seamless? Yes, I do believe it will. Um, Is it the same in energy? It is a high energy. It is not the same because my energy is not the same, right? When I first wrote the first 6 books, right? It was in 14 months. Bam, 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 bam. My first book was written in 6 weeks, from the first time that I clicked the key to publishing it on Amazon. I was in a space where, like, emotionally and energy wise, I just had so much to like squeeze onto the page and pour out. I'm in a very different place now, right? Like, I've been to therapy, which is what led me to the books, which is what led me to you. I'm in a happier, healthier place. I'm a more cohesive person, less reactive, more understanding about. I mean, I'm older and more mature. Like we all get older. We don't all necessarily use it to get wiser. I like to think that I've used some of my time where is that. So it's different. The biggest thing for me, honestly, in writing books that come across the right way is honestly getting concern out of my mind, right? I am a good writer. That is something I do. I am a someone who's put in the 100,000 hours to the craft of reading these books, imagining them, whatever. It's really about like stopping the worry and stopping the like concern about wanting it to be something, and instead just sort of letting it happen. And honestly, on days where it's like I do get in my head, then also saying, which my lovely love helped me with that, like it's okay, like if there's a day where you're a little bit afraid about something, it's okay if there's a day where you're concerned that it's not going to come out the right way. Like that's human, that's cool. Uh, doesn't mean that you can't plug away at the keys or just step away from them for a little bit. So yeah, that's basically what I do. Anyway, I hope that answered the question. Sharon Schultz asks, where does shadow magic fall in the magic hierarchy? Which is a great question, which I specifically answer in book nine. So I will not answer that now, but it is a very good question. What's up, Patrick Moorhead? Dakota McNamara, what's going on? Oh, hello from Nova Scotia. Hello from Portugal. Good to see you. Mm. And for those of you guys that don't know, I moved to Portugal. So yeah, that's why the background's different. Baz Baker, what's going on? So Pratchett, yeah. Scott Penny said Eddings Pratchett. Yeah, definitely Eddings. The Belgariad was one of the very first novels that I sort of cut my teeth on. Really, really great fantasy. Pratchett, I definitely loved the, I know this is sacrilege. I've loved the TV adaptations of a lot he's done, but for whatever reason, I've never really, really been able to dive super deep into a Pratchett book. I don't know, it just doesn't really like hit for me. I mean, same with like Elfstones of Shannara, that kind of thing. Like obviously amazing series of books that like awakened everyone, and they just never hit for me. Um, Sadly, the MTV adaptation also did not hit for me. But like, yeah, I mean, and that's honestly another wonderful thing. So I was listening to this TED Talk, right? About how to make good gatherings. I just try to listen to like random things all the time. And honestly, this woman who apparently does like, international global scale conflict resolution, um, was kind of realizing that like in her personal life or with like her friends, uh, there wasn't a lot of vitality when she was getting together with them. And kind of just like looked at like what is it that these like intense, things about like stop killing each other had that everyday like nuances of daily life didn't. And initially the thought was like, well, maybe it's just the high stakes, and she kind of fell onto that like that's actually not true. It's sort of just how we approach it. And so one of the things being said is that it is okay to create something that isn't for everyone, that it's actually almost a criteria to make something amazing, that it's self-exclusive, basically. Um, which is this amazing freeing idea, and is definitely how I live my personal life. I've known forever I am not for everybody, like forever. But then you kind of, and I've never really given a crap what other people thought a lot. I mean, I have. I'm a human being, but like I've always been on the side of the spectrum of like I really don't care. Screw you, barbecue and boobs and Van Damme and America. Like I've always been like a dude. Um, and it's interestingly like writing the books is very, very like personal and vulnerable, and somehow what random keyboard warriors might say like affected me more than like some dude trying to lean over to my face. That I have a very clear and definitive answer for, which I've given more times than I can remember in my life. This is the kind of thing that like it can like just get at you a little bit. Much less now. I mean, that's part of my evolution as a writer, and I guess in like a pseudo, public figure. But like initially, it was like this, like I had made this like fortress of Alaron, and that was like a little side gate that you just didn't pay attention to let the invaders get right in, which was weird sensation. Being raised the way I was raised, and then suddenly caring what people thought. Um, so it's this like kind of amazingly freeing thing to say like not only is it okay that like everyone isn't down with what you want to do, but it's almost necessary. Otherwise, you've either written the greatest novel of all time that just genetically people must like, or you've written something that's so, I don't know, vanilla, so like bland that everyone just finds it palatable, which is not something that I want. Like memories. I want people to have strong reactions, and it's interesting. One of the other things that I'm really looking at is that while I am learning new lessons in my life, I'm also sort of just relearning things that maybe like the world slowly led me away from, or applying things that I learned in this part of my life over here and being like, oh, wow, like, these lessons actually are not super different. I don't know if I'm being too esoteric, but like it's really fun. And so part of the journey over the last several years for me, you know, was again, it was mostly internal. Like it's not about like, my career, it's not about even exactly where I'm living. It's about like really liking and nourishing like what's in here. And then letting that spill over onto the page, spill over onto my personal relationships, spill over just in sort of my overall vibe. And it feels really good, to be quite honest. So anyway, uh, what's up, Jez? So, Jez, as you guys know, is an amazing lit RPG author. He lives on this side of the pond with me, and we are so close, and yet we still have not been able to hang, which is tragic. So, we definitely need to make that happen sometime soon. So Brittany back over and says, "Hi, Alan. I recently added one of my friends in this village. I appreciate that, and let me take this time. So, thank you, Brittany. But also, let me take this time to say, as I always do." I am so very grateful to have such wonderful fans. This has been an international sort of endeavor that has touched people from like old ages and young ages, and none of it would have been possible without you guys. I'm so grateful that I have such an amazing like community, that I have the Miss Village in real life. So I just want to say thank you. I really appreciate it. And yeah, so again, for anybody that hopped on late, writing well, wrote several chapters in Mayhem, wrote several chapters in Alpha. Um, yeah, hoping for two releases this year. I will give you more definitive stuff when it comes up, but I'm having a lot of fun. For anyone that was just on for that, and anyone else that wants to just hear my random meanderings and wants me to answer any questions, I'm happy to do so. Um, So Tino Garcia says, any update on the Crom Sumiko anti-graphic novel? Uh, well, I wrote it, but for some reason the pages are stuck together. So I don't know what that's all about. I don't know. Anyway, so Kevin Sylvester just says, can you tell me when Alpha Book 2 will come out? Well, I just sort of talked about it, but yeah, so hoping for Mayhem and Alpha 2 this year. And then after that, I will be working on, well, probably three concurrently, along with some other side project. But I kind of am really excited to get back to God's Eye too. But obviously, getting these two books out is so much more important. So yeah, we'll work on that. So we need to cryogenically freeze Nick in between books. Mm. So shout out to Nick. Nick is not only just the greatest, he's also just like the greatest. Like he's such an awesome dude. He's really considerate. He's like crazy humble. And I don't know. I'm just really grateful to call him a friend. Such a good dude. So Jess says, "What is the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow?" Excellent reference as always, sir. Um, James Burbank, what's going on? So Brittany wants to know, have I ever been approached or considered having the land be a TV series? So I obviously have. And Netflix, again, very little shame. Let's make it happen. Um, so the only thing that I really said, so obviously I thought about it because like, having your stuff adapted would be the brass ring, whether it's live action, whether it's anime, it would be super duper cool. And I hope that one day we can make that happen. There's only really two things. One, my main characters are black. That is a sticking point. It should not be something I should have to like argue about, but like any studio that was like, whatever, that wouldn't work for me. Otherwise, I'm very interested in I like working with other creatives, so that what you guys bring together is greater than the sum of its parts, right? So for me, I know other people that are like, oh, not a single word can ever be shifted, and blah blah blah. And that's not the way I am. Like I feel like different mediums have different strengths, and what makes a really good book doesn't necessarily make a really good movie. Uh, and like you definitely want there to be a standard, obviously, of goodness. But you got to work with the people. The other thing though is that like I'm not interested in any kind of MTV adaptation. Like I would work with MTV if it was MTV of the 80s and 90s, but like the just sort of teeny bopper, blah blah blah. Like I'd rather it not be happening. But honestly, like with how tech is going and with how people are able to do things with their phones, I'm like, am I just gonna end up making an adaptation one day? I mean, that seems possible, like there's some young fan out there now who in 10 years is working on his own studio and he's like, yeah, it's just me and two dudes and we make pretty good stuff. And I'm like, let's make it happen. So I don't know, that would be really cool. So Michael P. Verhalen says, "How do you come up with your character names?" I don't know, just stuff that I think is cool, right? Like, I have named some of my characters after people in my life. I have based some of my characters with people in my life. Sometimes the characters like just have the name and have like not really anything to do with the person, and vice versa. I've named things on my maps that are about people in my life and things like that. I don't know. I just sort of do whatever I think is cool. And yeah, it's actually very dangerous, like naming a character after someone that you know, because people take that shit seriously. Right? They're like, okay, so you had the character do this, and so what does that mean about me? And da 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 da, da, and it becomes a whole thing. You have to be very careful about who you kill off because people get a little upset about that. So yeah, I don't know, just sort of all over whatever's popping around in the old noggin. Baz, what's up? Keisha Gibbs, hello. Jez is here. Hold on to your butts. That is an excellent, excellent, slightly deep cut quote. I love it. Mm. Kenneth Ray, what's going on? Nathan Schwartz, love my books. I appreciate it, dude. And again, thank you guys for all of the love and the awesomeness. Um, Namandi Tito, very cool. Loki Darby Tech. Oh, okay. So this reminds me. So that I only bring this up because it was a slightly hard word to say. Something that I randomly came across. Like I try to limit my social media these days because I think we're all addicted to it and it's problematic. And I mean, there's just a lot of things you can say about it, right? But it's obviously useful. It's obviously fun. So every once in a while, I will get into like a scroll hole. But I'm happy to say, like, I've done things like I upgraded to the latest iOS and I made my entire home screen grayscale, which massively decreased like the amount of times that I'm randomly opening an app, move things over to a couple other pages. So I don't really do it a lot, but I was doing it the other night and one thing that I did find to be amazingly choice is Peloton instructors reading bad names, where people will like put on random like Famunda my balls kind of thing, and it's hilarious. If you're looking for a little bit of a chuckle, I recommend it. I absolutely do. So Loki Darby Tech says Chaos Seed is one of the two releases. Yes, yes, Mayhem will be one of the two releases. Kenneth Ray says, "What's up, Doc? What's up, kid?" Bo says, "How is living down south?" So, I live actually in the north of Portugal now, Bo. I moved across the Atlantic Ocean, and I live in Portugal now. It has been amazing. It has been very healthy. As you guys know, I had a lot more face on my face before. I am down 90 pounds, which is awesome. I mean, it just feels good. I'm sorry, this is not a recommendation from a physician. I'm just sharing my own personal journey. But for me, I needed help with the medication Mounjaro. And honestly, I feel like it saved my life. And I'm down 90 pounds. My mom's down 45 pounds. I've been able to maintain this weight for about like 8 months now, which feels awesome. And it's just a lot easier over here. Like the food is very, very different. Like walking is a very normal thing. So it just feels good. It feels like I'm in healthy soil for the kind of plant that I'm trying to grow into. So it feels really good. So Kirk, what's going on? Dial in Gavel. Hello. Richard Levy says it's like a bad drug addiction. Well, I mean, are there any bad drug addictions or withdrawals or good ones? I mean, it's kind of about the perspective. And this is not a drug. This is just awesome. I mean, I hear some dude made it out of water, so whatever. Andrew Powers is going on. Frank Santaqua. What's the second release other than nine? Oh, Alpha 2. I'm still workshopping several names, and I'll probably be able to talk about that in a month or two. Mostly, I'm just creating it, right? So I'm just not really stressed about that. Drew Calabria, Adam Powell, what's going on? Matt Kulikillis, Kukilis, Kukulias. I like it no matter what. Eric Schaefer, what's going on? Patrick Akers, hello. Jeremiah Zaringer, Matt Santamina. Okay, so yeah, it's really good talking to you guys. I didn't realize how much I missed you, especially like some of the oldies and goodies that are popping in here. But yeah, like if you guys have any questions, I'm happy to try to answer them, give you guys some updates. Honestly, life is just good, you know? I like my intelligence is very fundamental. Like I need to understand the base of things. And then I can extrapolate a lot higher than other people, right? Like it's like some people define genius as someone that like yeah, I mean can make in very, very high intuitive leaps very, very quickly, right? I can do that. But let's say like an absolute genius is like can get to like the fifth level, like I can probably do it to the third. But so my intelligence always worked a lot more is that like if I spend a lot of time on the ground level, I can probably build to like the 20th level, whereas maybe other people like sort of can't. Um, and that's been the way my brain has always worked. And honestly, I feel like that's maybe kind of reflective of how I'm viewing a lot of like nature and how communities and cultures are sort of sculpting people. Overall, I'm living a healthier lifestyle, and it's not just about the less space on my face. It's everything. Spiritually, mentally, economically. Like there's a lot of things that are different about my life than were before. Romantically, 100%. And what I find is that if you're living healthily, right, there's like a thousand different little nuances that sort of come through than if you're not. Like if you are living unhealthily, you're not always having bad luck, right? Like you weren't expecting like this specific thing to happen, but we were expecting like something to happen because um as we say, ghetto games win ghetto prizes. Stupid games win stupid prizes. Um and what I'm finding is that healthy games win healthy prizes, which is kind of cool. Um and so by doing that, by just trying to incorporate things that I think are overall positive and share that positivity, right? Um, it manifests in ways that you don't expect, which is really, really cool. Um, I figured out a long time ago that like maybe the least important question is why in the grand scheme of things. Because there's this old Buddhist quote that like asking why is like pulling a leg off a centipede. Because every time you ask why, there's a because. Like, why did Richter get sent to the land? Because the Dark Court needed to do it. But why did the Dark Cave need to do it? It was because they're locked away. But why were they locked away? I mean, like you can go down that forever. And it's fun to a certain extent and it's useful to a certain extent. Um, but like that's everything, right? Like it's a good idea until it isn't. There's a great movie called Yesterday where this Indian guy gets like zapped into an alternate reality where they've never heard of the Beatles and he always played Beatles cover songs. So basically this massive Rolodex of songs, he starts putting it out and they're like, you're the greatest songwriter of all time. He ends up running into John Lennon, who's still alive, who is just this like old salt of the earth kind of guy. It's hilarious. And John Lennon's talking to him and he goes, life isn't really that complicated if you want to live it well. Um, find someone to love and be lucky enough for them to love you back. Um, fight for things that are worth fighting for when you're strong enough to do it. Tell the truth as often as you can. I find that there's almost as much, if not more, ill and harm coming from unrealistic expectations that we place on ourselves and place on the people around us as a that are absolute. Like you always have to do this. This is always what you have to do. You can never dissent. You are a traitor if you think anything like that's not real. That's not the way anyone works. It's not the way our society works. Um, but if you can be like, like if you could just give a crap when you can, you probably will make the world a better place in some small way. And if we all do it, maybe we'll survive. If you can take the energy to call a friend because they've been wanting to reconnect to when you have the energy, um, both of your lives will probably be better. And you're not a piece of crap if you don't, and you're not horrible and you don't love each other any less. But like, just be a little more, um, like, give a shit and also give yourself some grace if you don't have the energy to do it today or tomorrow, you know? Yeah, like that's part of the things about what I mean about like just unlearning stuff, where it's like, well, it has to be this way. If you're not doing it this way, then what does that mean about you? And da 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 da. And it's just this horrible shame spiral, as opposed to being like, I'm cool because I'm cool, and I'm gonna try to do a little bit better tomorrow. And if I don't feel good today, maybe I'm gonna be honest about that. Maybe take a hit, maybe not. Um, yeah. So I don't know, dude. Like dudes and dudettes and everybody, like yeah, it's kind of freeing and amazing. I don't know, maybe I feel like I'm rambling, but basically I'm just saying, uh if you are feeling lost, which I have many times in my life, and you don't know what to do what you can to move in a better direction, even if you're not sure that the steps you're taking are exactly where you want yourself to lead. And in general, if you're doing things that are making you healthier physically, mentally, spiritually, romantically, economically, everything, you're not wasting your time. You're never wasting your time making yourself healthier and feel better. Um, so I hope whoever needed to hear that, maybe me, I hope that hit for you. So anyway, and for anyone that just came for the books and not for my TED Talk, working on them. Chapters are going well. Hoping for two releases this year: Mayhem and Alpha 2. All right, so Amar Zahid, what's going on? Sean Williamson, hey there, Doc. I think I appreciate that, John. And I don't know if I told you, like when I was born, that was my last name, so we could be brothers. Petdir Jurusek. So I don't know about you guys, but I get really excited about names that I can't pronounce, which is because it's like, what is your backstory and how did we get it connected? How did you get it connected with a Black Kong? There's only like three of me. So that's just, I just think it's kind of cool. Jonathan Rich, what's up? Sean Williamson, glad you're in Key West. I am in Portugal. What's going on? Kirk, good to see you again, dude. Mark Hartle. Yeah, and again, any questions? Please let me know. Uh, hmm, love to chit chat. I love to answer anything that I can for you guys. Yeah, like life is horrible and it's wonderful depending on how you're doing it, depending on the overall circumstances. I'm very grateful for today. Really, really. I'm very grateful for you guys and being able to like, kick it with y'all. I'm grateful for funny memes and good people that I love, strength and health. Like I'm grateful for these things. I'm grateful for the times that I've survived, you know? Yeah. So anyone that's on the crappier, you know, like part of the sine wave right now, like it can get better. Like that's a universal certainty. It can. I hope it does. Anyone that's enjoying the crest, like I hope it you ride off into Valhalla forever, dude. So that's a good time. Anyway, so yeah, any questions, I'm happy to answer, but really I'm just vibing with you guys. It's good to see you. Tyler J. Dost, what's going on? Prince Detro Roger Rose. I also have four names. I don't know if any of you guys know, but I do. So Patrick Moorhead says, "How do I love Portugal? I love Portugal. I absolutely love it. Um, I mean, I just absolutely love it. It is peace and joy and safety, and temperate. Like I'm at the same latitude as Boston, but it was like 55, 60 degrees today. It was actually hot. I had to close the shades because it was too hot. Um, and yeah, like it's again, it is soil that is nourishing me into the tree that I want to grow into, which is cool. I'm very grateful for it, and I recommend to everyone, um, that you find the energy and the wherewithal to travel and see other things and see other places. Um, the United States has given me so much, and I definitely am an American. as you guys may have heard me say a time or two before, barbecue and boobs and Van Dam and bar fights and uh this is an awesome, awesome ride. But like it's so geographically big that it almost has like a gravity of like we don't really travel that much. And when we do, it's just we pop down to like Jamaica, right? And then come back, which is kind of America. It's like it's been heavily, heavily changed into like what we would consider a vacation. Like actually just traveling to somewhere like different, somewhere new, and then just sort of seeing the way that changes you, seeing how no matter where you go, they're just people, peopling. Um, it's necessary, I think, to grow into the most awesome version of yourself. So I really recommend that to you guys. So anyway, Clayton Wielden, what's going on? Mike Hartle, yep, Miss Philly. Hmm. And so Sharon says, can we get Richter some coffee or coffee plants? Coffee is life. Coffee is life. I didn't drink coffee until like 3 years ago. And it was because I came to Europe and my buddy was like, "Hey, let's go out." And I'm like, "Dude, I just got off of a like international flight. There's no way." She goes, "Just have some coffee." And I'm like, "I don't drink coffee." And then she's like, "I'll just try it." And like an hour later, I was like, "Woo!" Um, yeah, coffee is life. I went through all of college, all of studying for the MCAT, all of medical school, all of residency, and 5 years of working nights as a full-fledged doctor without any coffee. I mean, I got some sugary crap from Starbucks that was basically a no shake from time to time, but no coffee. And now espresso is life. Espresso is life. So yeah, I absolutely agree. It's amazing. Da, 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 da. So Adam says that's how I am with Stephen King. I'm assuming that was 9 rants of me ago. So I hope that whatever. Oh, my sister is here, my lovely sister. Oh, and I want you to see this, sis. Your card came 1 month later. I appreciate it. I love the newsletter. What's up, my lovely sister? I love you. What's up, Patrick Todd Bentley? Love you too, guy. Brett Foster, what's going on? Jeff Savast. James Lewis says, when are you in the UK? So it is not really easy to get in there. Like y'all's TSA or whatever the hell you call it is faux real. I was actually over there for the Bears game. Not a big sports dude. Nah, not into sports ball, but I got taken over there. I don't really honestly see myself hitting up the UK anytime soon. I had a good time. And I actually met this really, really cool couple, not in the UK, but from South Wales. When I was in Spain, which sounds really bougie the way I'm saying it, guys, but like I'm gonna clue you into something. You can get $20 flights between these countries. Like this is not me exaggerating. It is an everyday kind of thing. It is like it costs 5% of what it costs to fly from state to state to fly from country to country. It is super normal over here, which I did not know either. But it is like literally just it's like you can wake up and get a $20 flight to another country. Um, so yeah, like it's a thing. I don't know. But if I do get over there, I'll do a book signing or something because it would be good. And I got to see Jez, obviously, or he could come visit me. I'm just saying. But it's fine. It's all good. Jonathan Mills, what's going on? Tim Guthrow Jr. made it to a live. Wah, 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 wah. I'm glad you made it, dude. Spencer Hedrick, what's going on? Bill Walker says Jez depends on where the swallow takes off from. Isn't it true? Isn't it grand? Such a great joke. Okay. Ryan Maxwell, it's good to see you. Norma Thompson, hello. Loki, what's going on again? Oh, thank you so much. Loki says God's Eye and Alpha are amazing too. I really appreciate that. Um, my lovely love, when I was revealing the other day, well, some of the softness in my heart about like, there's some days where like sitting down at the keyboard is like any bullshit that we all deal with can just come roaring back. And it's like, oh, well, maybe I'm like concerned and da da da. Da. And she's like, yeah, that's normal. And you're just like, good at what you do. And then she just hit me with this one. She's like, and you're Aileron Kong. You're not going to put out some crap. You're just not. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. I'm not. Um, it's funny. Like when I was in residency, I was a badass doctor, very good doctor. Not the smartest one. Like some of the people that I met were feel like Stephen Hawking's. Not the most knowledgeable doctor. Like some people were reading like treatises from wherever and read every single journal that came out and knew about like interleukin one's interconnectivity with the pathway of blah 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 blah, right? Um, I was very good at knowing what mattered. What's going to kill you? I'm all over that. How do you fix it? I'm all over that. Being a definitive human being, all over that. Interfacing with people, knowing what they need and being able to say it in a way that they can understand, all over that. So like as far as like making the sauce, like I might not have been the best Michelin star restaurant in the world, but I was the place that everyone was smiling, after you'd had a good spaghetti meal with some sauce. Um, and so like, and even then, though, even with all of that, I would occasionally, just because, you're working 140 hours a week or more, I would just look in the mirror at the beginning of the day and be like, you're not a piece of crap, dude. And no one was saying it to my face because I was, again, the dude that they called, but it feels like that. You get ground down sometimes. Like life gets really hard. And it's okay to be like, dude, this is a hard day and you're awesome. And the reason you are is because you're awesome. Like, that. Like you don't need to get a daily justification for it. Like just salt. This is the truth. You know what I'm saying? Um, so again, I mean, I'm not really trying to like wax poetic about that horrible, horrible residency experience, but I do want to share some of the vulnerabilities that I've had at various points of my journey. For anyone else that might be having a similar vulnerability, and maybe those words can connect. It is okay to literally look yourself in the mirror and be like, you got this, or it's one more day down, or tomorrow can make it turn it all around. Sometimes we need that, we all have our different coping mechanisms, um, because life be life, and it really does. But I'm very happy to be here with you guys now and enjoying this vibe. So, all right. My mouth is getting dry, which lets me know that I should be going soon. So all right. So Jedrius Dyfenderfer says Portugal isn't that far. It's very true. Uh, mm. Bobby Johnson, good to see you. I'm gonna push through. Let me see if there's any like questions. All right, so this is a good one. Dakota McNair says, what kind of strategies do you have for overcoming writer's block or finding something new that isn't just a different view of something existing? I'm a writer, music myself, and have had trouble finding something new to write about for a while. Okay, so amazing question. I think it's a question that people have been asking themselves since people have been making art, which is probably since people have been making people, which is art. If you're doing it right or wrong, that's okay too. Um, um, so strategies to uh get more creative fuel, right? I said I've always been overly deep, weird kid, but I realized a long time ago that the cure for life is only two things: death or more life. You can just opt out of the merry-go-round, which is tragic. Or you can pour more life into you. There's too much stressing you out. You might not be able to remove that stress, right? But like, let's say that there's like some red dye in here, right? And it's problematic, and I don't know how to pull the dye out. But if I add more water, more life, at least the dye gets diluted. So you can do that to fix an issue. Or by not trying to actively fix writer's block or pour creativity into you, but instead just accepting more life into you, right? Maybe the block eases, or maybe you get inspiration from a different place. It's like trying to get laid and feeling really anxious about it. Nobody wants anxious genitals near them. It is not a good vibe. But if you're just cool, somehow genitals seem to want to come next to you, so to speak. Uh, yeah, I mean, and I think that's really it. Again, I don't think that it's overly complicated. Most of the questions that plague us are not overly complicated. What's complicated is the intricate walls and mazes we create around them. Uh, so you want to be inspired? Look at things that are inspiring. Inspire other people. One of the big hacks is like you want something amazing to happen in your life, make something amazing happen in someone else's life, and then you're like, oh my God, how are all of these ideas coming at me now? Um, I mean, I feel like the advice that I'm giving is very like esoteric and sort of abstract, but I mean, so is creativity. You can't rush inspiration or love or any of the amazing things that sort of like get us. Like there are hit songs that took 10 years to write. There are hit songs that took 10 minutes to write. Um, yeah, I don't know. The more you're chill, right? The more you're happy, the more you're connecting with people that you want, the more you increase the health in your life. And again, not just physical health, but like emotional health, um, mental health, whatever, like that can allow things to flow. And don't be afraid of the things that are not healthy in you. Like the friction, the anger, the angst, the misery, that also makes beautiful art. All of it can. What can't is trying to force it, trying to force this ephemeral magic into a mold. That seems like it's always the bad luck. So anyway, I hope that was a little helpful, Dakota. All right, cool. Good chatting. Ben Nori, what's going on? Go topmost Kentucky, go Chiefs. I respect needing to throw it in there. So Mike Hartle says like chapter 37, and I think that I saw that comment pop up like forever ago. So I am definitely behind. I am going to skip forward a little bit. Jay Baraz, what's up, oldie but goodie? Good to see you, man. Josh McGriff, what's going on? Alex, how's Portugal? Portugal's awesome. I'm glad you guys are here. Ryan Maxwell, Caesar, good to see you. All right, so yeah, I am. Oh man, there's so many messages. You guys are the best. You guys are such a best. What's the gonna say? All right, so and Matthew Matthew boldly says, "Now my balls are anxious," and Josh McGriff says, "Now my balls are worried about his balls." Leslie Sedlex says, "That's such a guy analogy." So I mean, like, yes, because there's this old acting coach. So I have a buddy, Kerry Donaldson, one of the most creative human beings I ever met. I've been my honor to be his friend for like 2 decades. And he says he was sitting next to an acting coach, and there was a very similar conversation where the guy was like, my buddy was like, "How do I get myself into this role? I feel like I'm falling flat." And his acting coach said that he was on a bus the other day and was sitting there and was just kind of like bothered and didn't know if it was this guy and didn't know if it was the state of affairs or what he'd read into the news. And then he just kind of shifted and he realized that he'd been sitting on his nuts a little too hard. And by doing that, he relieved that pressure and suddenly things just didn't bother him so much. And then basically he came to, I don't know what the secret of life is, but I do know it involves balls. And that you can take to the bank. All right, let me give out some or whatever's is there anything else I can answer? Any last minute questions? Because then I'm gonna get out of here and see if I can do some more writing before the end of the day. Okay. Um, you guys are awesome. I'm so thankful to have the Miss Village. Thank you for staying on this journey with me. Please give yourselves some grace. I hope your days are awesome. I hope you plan a trip, even if it's a local trip, even if it's just hopping on a bus, even if it's just viewing a friend, call someone that you haven't called, like something that you guys are like, I'm going to get to it today. Do something cool. You might be surprised. And surprise is a really dope question. All right, let me see. All right, so Jonathan Crime says, okay, out of the blue question, which book and chapter is the dwarf drinking song? I believe that's seven. I mean, like, I haven't memorized where everything is in all the books. Like, to me, it's running timeline, but yeah. And Amanda Marie Wormwood says reading God's Eye. I appreciate it. And Jonathan Grimm says for door. All right, so you guys are awesome. I'm gonna get out of here. I hope you guys stay cool and peace, love, perfect margarita. Good to see you guys. Bye.